And I always wanted to bring my sister. She hated it. She'd sit there and be like, "Oh, sister, she." She's so your secret.
My son is a Leo.
Oh, okay, okay.
He's a try.
He's what?
He performs.
Oh, well, there you go. You say that. I love it.
Better now. Instead of switching, I'm still gonna, no, I'm gonna switch it back. You guys ready? Everybody was, don't worry, it's going back. This is just the start. I'm gonna see if I can work on flipping it back and forth. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome Lisa. Welcome to the team. So you're meeting the squad here pretty much. This is the group that shows up pretty consistently, especially the trainings. You're a part of a great group, and we're just excited to have you here. So I know it's always scary just on the initial jump, and you're not sure what you're coming into, but you already followed, another great leader, so Tammy wouldn't just make a knee-jerk reaction here. If it,
The knee-jerk.
not at all. We've been talking for 10 years. So it's
Good risk taker.
absolutely. So we're excited to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Nice to meet all of you.
Yes. So and then Ken Grutch is my partner over here. So he suckered me into this whole thing a couple years ago, but we've known each other for about 10 years as well.
Stressing me out.
Yeah. Now you're
I
coming.
must have moved here 10 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, something like that. That's right when I got back from school and then got linked up at Troop Real Estate and met Ken there. We worked together. He was the director of marketing, so he was teaching me the ropes of that. And right away, I'm like, all right, I'm like 33 years old, and people have been doing business longer than I've been alive. Like, what do you recommend? Like, what books do I need to read? And he gave me Think and Grow Rich. This is actually Napoleon Hill, The Science of Personal Achievement, which is also another good book. And that's one thing we learned in law school is you don't just read one thing, you read multiple things that are on the same subject to get different perspectives, different kind of ideas. But one thing we've learned is, you'll hear us say the truth is the truth is the truth, right? And no matter who you hear it from or how you hear it, it's all in alignment and it all works. And we strive to tap into that every Tuesday and every Friday. Those are the 2 days a week. We've talked about going down to 1 day a week, but what we've also found is if we figure out how to be more disciplined to like certain activities that will lead to more production, that you need to develop time to train and to think, right? And to create the ideas and then to take action. It's a whole system instead of just trying to react to everything that's happening. And I'm doing quite a bit of that right now, where it's just like calls, texts, things are coming in. And I can tell I'm just like, I'm operating on everybody else's wavelength instead of my own, right? And I don't like it. I mean, I like calls, I like texts, but I like knowing, okay, this is my plan for the week. These are the things I need to do. And we can protect this time and get to that. You get what I'm saying? So just want to kind of give you an overview, especially your first time here. And then so what we usually do is we do skills trainings, more skills, but it's always mindset, skill set, and discipline on Tuesdays. Friday is we used to do Think and Grow Rich, the mastermind meeting, but that one's more collaborative. All of ours is collaborative, but Friday is more focused towards that. So we'll pick one specific skill. It could be very mindset related, or it could be very skill set related, like on objection handling, right? I actually asked, April earlier, I said, what do you want to choose? Oh, what about objection handling? And I was like, that's always good. So there's certain things that if you master, like setting appointments, following up, how are you going to go find your business? Because ultimately, this business is actually pretty simple, but it's difficult to do. And what I mean by that is if you understand what your job is and you know what to focus on, that part isn't rocket science. It's actually pretty simple, right? But it's not easy to get in between motivated buyers and sellers. And that's what we have to do. We have to find motivated buyers and sellers, and they have to find value or reason that they want to work with us and help them lead them through that process. But ultimately, In a nutshell, that's what your job is, right? And then so what's going to attract people to want to work with you? It's your ability to communicate at a very high level. It's your ability to ask intelligent questions that's going to help them self-discover and then move them towards that direction, right? So those are some of the things. I know kind of long intro, but just wanted to make sure I kind of painted the picture first. So we usually start with 10 gratitudes and goals. To not take too much time with that, if you guys want, let's just write 5 gratitudes, 5 goals, get started with that. Then we'll jump into our session. Anything you wanted to add to that, Ken, before we do that?
Um. Yeah, I mean. A lot of times so we're all like, and I heard this guy talking about it, and it made a lot of sense. When you originally come into this business, you're basically, imagine if you purchased a piece of iron for $5. You get this iron and it's worth $5. That's what it is. And you can choose to keep being this $5 piece of iron, or you can form it into something and create something that can turn into money. You know, so if you make like precision, medical tools, now that $5 piece of iron can be sold for maybe thousands. Even if you made needles, for sewing, you can make tens of thousands out of that. Precision springs, again, you could turn it into something very lucrative. But
We
the
do
point,
rebar, so yeah.
oh, rebar, there you go.
Piece of steel turns in, yeah.
The point is that you can choose to always be that $5 piece of iron, or you can, better your business, create better your, if you got nothing going on as far as business, you need to sharpen your skill set on what you offer. Take a day to learn something new in your field. So that's what I'll find is that people will say, I don't have anything to talk about.
Mhm.
And it's because of their lack of knowledge of their own business. So you have to sharpen who you're going to be and make yourself worth, 10,000 instead of that $5 piece of iron. I don't know if that made sense, but
It did.
So as we're writing our gratitudes and goals, if anybody would like to start with a gratitude or a win just for the week, everybody else can keep writing. So this is when nobody wants to be called on, everybody acts like they're working and looks down.
Okay, I'll start. So, I have all my gratitudes, but I wanted to share I'm so grateful for my mentors and especially for their patience with me. I'm grateful for all of you guys in here. And, my goals are, 45K each quarter. And I want to grow my skills in real estate and grow my communication skills.
Awesome. Those are great goals. Thank you for sharing that with us too. All right. Anybody else like to share and just a gratitude or a win over the last week? I start moving this camera over. Get everybody starting to write really good. I know. I'm trying to figure this out. I know. That's what we will do. Anybody else? Do you want to share gratitude, Tammy?
Well, I'm grateful for new opportunities, and I'm actually gonna try something new based off of our conversation last week. I think it was last week.
Mhm.
So we're gonna try to do that reverse offer. I've
Awesome.
never done that before.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before,
Mhm.
and we'll see if it works.
Cool.
We're not there. I was actually just working on it right now.
Sweet.
And what we're talking, have you ever done a reverse offer?
No. And how did I miss this conversation? That's what I'm really sitting here thinking.
But, just.
I
new-
think
new
Alma
opportunity. Was it
brought it
Alma?
up. Yeah.
Okay, it was,
Thank
yes,
Mhm.
it was Alma. And so basically, sometimes when you're the listing agent and buyers want the house, but they just don't want to trigger it, you can write the offer for them, put
Mhm.
your terms, give them a short time. If they sign it, you have a deal. And we're gonna see what happens. So
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Cool.
yeah,
We'll
we
good
brought
luck
it up
with that.
over lunch.
Yeah,
What's that?
We brought it up over lunch.
Oh, that's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
so
No,
new
that's right.
opportunities.
Yeah. No, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
No, it makes sense.
As you're
Because
putting
for-
it-
For somebody else, why I had somebody come to my open house. I asked him who he was working with. He said his agent was from LA.
Right,
Right.
I'm like, I would never put down another agent, but I will tell you from experience, if you're gonna purchase, you should use a local agent.
right,
Because if
Right.
it's not me, that's fine, but you
Yeah.
should use a local agent.
right,
I told them about this. I'm like, over here, when they first built these, there was no movement in the harbor, so they stunk. From 4 to 6, they stunk bad.
Right.
An LA agent wouldn't know that.
Right. Exactly.
Those are
They don't
important
know.
things.
Right.
New
Absolutely.
opportunities.
Absolutely. And no, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that gratitude. Any other gratitudes? Sean, any wins, gratitudes over the last week?
I'm just grateful to be back in the office. Went on a little hiatus with the kids out of school and just
Yeah.
life and,
Right.
no excuses. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I just need to get back in the swing of things. So I'm glad to be here and be around everyone that, cares about each other and we have each other's back. So,
Right.
yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Anybody else?
Come on, speak up.
Yeah, someone-
Today, everybody's
That's a
fighting
final
today.
walkthrough, right?
Yes, we have a win. Me and Ken have a final walkthrough tonight.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
yeah, and Sun Valley.
Good thing to be
About,
gratitude. Grateful.
from an open house.
Yeah.
So
Good.
that listing, that one that just closed,
Mhm.
we flipped a buyer into a $1.4 million home. That was-
Wow.
That's closing next week,
Cool. Congrats.
and they love her.
Yeah.
Like, it's.
Who does?
They're very, very sweet family. Very nice family.
That's awesome.
The best.
She's your ringer.
All right.
They just totally connect, the wives just connect with her. It's crazy. They just love her. When you watch it, you just sit back and go, man, I don't have that woman's touch. I can't do
No,
that.
but we've had the best family.
Yeah, they've been-
We've been lucky.
Yeah, well,
It's not by
it's
accident.
not, yeah, it's not luck. And see, it's your attitude about everything too. You say we have the best families. You already believe that. And we're going to talk about that some. There's some things I want to quote into, but you get what you believe, right? So if you believe in a certain outcome, or you believe, oh, this always happens, or these things are going to happen, whether positive or negative, that's ultimately what you're going to get. So when you say we get lucky, we just get the best families. When you walk into an open house, that's what you're looking for. You're like, I'm going to find some great, awesome families out there today, right? That's already your mindset. You already believe it before it happens. So it's not luck. You're drawing that attraction, and your attitude and your personality is creating that energy and that opportunity. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, you create your own narrative. And what Brandon's saying is probably the most crucial thing you can, if you're gonna. Like when someone comes in to an open house, for example, I know that I'm gonna be able to help them with something. That's my goal, and I'm positive that I'm gonna be able to help them with something. That I know. But if you don't believe that story to yourself, that's what you need to work on. Because you need to be able to feel that way without, and she knows that she's just like herself. And so there's no like angle, and people love that because she's genuine. And they just gravitate towards her because she's not this car salesman. It's not, she truly cares about them and they know it. It's not just first time. I've had this happen 10 times with her and we'll work in open houses. She's just got this, you've seen it too,
Yeah.
right? It's just crazy.
Authentic.
It's authentic and it's real. But you have to like, have a combination of, that goes so far, but then you also have to bring value. And then the whole key is to listen to them and answer their needs. So asking intelligent questions and doing it you have to have some, you can't just be depressed sitting in a corner. You have to have some controlled enthusiasm to yourself
That's
and
the
then
word.
build rapport.
Controlled enthusiasm is important. So, and it's good to think about that, because what is enthusiasm? And you're bringing energy, you're getting, you're breathing life into something. That's inspiration, right? But if it's too much, it's a turnoff.
Yep.
And then it's like, what's the angle, right? So it's controlled enthusiasm. You don't do it all the time, but you have to do it when there's something to be excited about or something to get them excited about. Otherwise, they're not going to be interested, right? So it's these are the things to practice as you look at, okay, what skill sets do I need to refine? So I'm going to get into this really quick, and I'll just share a quick story of kind of what my inspiration for today was. Let me just flip it back and forth to this, see if this works. All right, so what's that?
Let's not. We have this discussion.
There you go. All right. So basically, yeah, some of you may have saw I posted Mikey hitting his first home run over the fence, right? Well, he's 9 years old. Took after mom's height, stature, right? He's 6'10". No, he's mom's 4'10". So he wrote this goal down, but what was really cute, and if any of you read kind of what I typed up about it, basically he peeked in my journal one day and he's looking through and he's seeing I'm writing my gratitude to my goals, right? And he sees that I'm putting certain goals down and I let him, I was like, yeah, read it. And he sees a certain amount of money by a specific date. He sees personal goals by everything has a date though. And so I see him kind of look in and he's reading it and then he closes it and he just kind of sneaks off in his room. Once he goes to his room, I forget about it. I didn't even think. The next day I go in and I see a piece of paper. On the paper says, I will hit a home run over the fence by April 1st, 2025.
That's
And he writes it though in January. He's 8 years old. He's the youngest kid by like a year and a half. This goal, no joke, and he could hit, but it seems impossible. But I don't tell him that. I'm just like, all right, son, believe it. You know what I mean? Believe it. I said, but we got to work at it. We got to practice. I said, you need to do push-ups. Like we need in order to make this goal, you can't just think it and not do anything. But this lesson's important because it's what I try to teach all of my kids. It's what I'm a firm believer because I know it's created what's happening right now. And I want them to understand this because it's not about hitting the home run. It's about understanding that you can do anything, right? So I wrote pretty cool message on his game ball, but I referred to Philippians 4:13 that says you can do anything through Christ our Lord, right? Anything's possible. Anything is possible. And it's all the same ideas. It's belief, it's faith, it's knowing it, right? It's taking action. He's definitely talented. He is talented, but he's given a lot of tools and ability. And not too long ago, he's ready to give up. And where I can get emotional about it is I'm been going through some stuff and been waiting like, okay, what do I need to do for this fog to go away? Like, will it go away? Will it always kind of be there? Will I always be changed from this one specific event? And two things happen, one at church and then this. And after this happened, it was just like another reminder from God, like, look, this, you know, it's beautiful. And just like the day that I was kind of in a funk, before I walked into the room and saw Ken and he's Bob Proctor and being positive and being that good dude, and I started listening to Bob Proctor and it changed for me, I felt it happen. At that moment, I was like, it's done. Like, it's done. What happened is done. Yes, I still have the services. Yes, I'm still going to help with t-shirts and I'm helping do these things for the family and supporting, but I felt it just release. And it happened in church right before that with my daughter Emma. And we're going through some stuff. And I prayed, I'm just praying for her. I'm praying hard. Not even before I walk out the church doors. I go up to a guy who I'm asking him to be my sponsor for confirmation. The old guy that I used to coach his son. All his kids are little altar boys, right? They're good kids. You just see this family and they're just good people. No joke. My prayer was answered in like less than 5 minutes. And because it was a deep prayer, I didn't even get out the church doors. And he starts talking to me and he just says, he's like, you know what? My kids go to Villanova school. They love it, right? He's like, they don't have a softball team though, but they got a baseball team and there's a girl that plays on it. That's how Emma started on playing baseball, right? But he's like, their commitment to service, he's like, it's like a college campus. He's all, I was like, where's that school? He's all, it's in Ojai. So we just start talking. And as I hear it, I just feel like God's warmth coming over me. I'm trying not to lose it in front of, like, he doesn't even know. We're just catching up. And his words of what he said was literally from what I'm praying on. I didn't ask him anything about that. I'm asking him if he could be my sponsor for the church. And it goes into a whole nother area, just based on just whatever you want to call it. So those two things I know aren't by accident. No, it's okay. Those two things I know aren't by accident. I know when I'm paying attention to these God moments, right? And I'm writing them down. And it's just like, okay, I see you. Thank you for just confirming what I needed to confirm. So just wanted to share that story, not to start off with the tears and the waterworks. It's been a beautiful thing and a feeling, but I want y'all to know it's like it's real. And you're never alone. She's not alone. It's amazing. And as I'm looking at, okay, is it different teams? Is it all these other things? It's like, no, I need to teach her. It's like sometimes it's gonna feel lonely. And you have to be comfortable with that. You have to be comfortable with not trying to make friends or not trying to do things because you want people to accept you. I said, when you can finally, and she's 13 years old, it's a very tough lesson to understand. But as I'm hearing it and I'm looking at this beautiful family and I'm seeing, yeah, I'm just seeing what's possible. It's just amazing. So a lot of good things that are happening. I hope for every single person here, if you're experiencing any kind of where you feel a fog or feel stuck or anything, like, just definitely reach out. Not saying I got the answer. I feel like I've been having a lot of those talks lately, but definitely we're here for each other. Talk to Ken, talk to Leslie, talk to Tammy, anybody in this room. We're here for each other to help each other out. You know what I mean? And Justin, you're a stud too. I'm glad we got a little bit of time the other day.
Appreciate it. Sorry for being late.
No, you're good. You're good. But so I'm gonna get into the message. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I
Any
want to
thoughts?
bring up one thing, just to show the importance of mindset. I know we talk about it, and sometimes we talk about it and go, okay, here we go again with the mindset, but and understanding why it's so important. And you mind if I pick on you, April, a little bit?
Sure, I don't know.
I'm not sure. She's camera friendly.
You wrote down a very good goal there. Okay, that you said it with conviction, like it's gonna happen,
It is.
right?
Mhm.
Okay. A few months ago, prior to you starting to work again with Brandon and everything, would you have written that same goal?
Well, honestly, last year my goal was less, but I did write a goal. I didn't reach the goal. But yeah.
Were you in the mindset to write that with that conviction?
Probably not with the same conviction, no.
What changed that?
I honestly, I've been really tuning in to, just mindset and, daily, listening to people that inspire me. I've been, getting back into church and reconnecting with all those people in my life and kind of cutting out the people who, I don't want to say they brought me down, or I allowed to let the other outside noise kind of get in there.
Do you feel that you're booking some wins now?
Yes,
You are. You attribute it to that?
yes,
mind?
100%.
That's the whole point. I'm not trying to it seems obvious, but it isn't obvious. Cause we all get into this funk. Because life's a bitch. It really is. And when the human, even my son was telling, like Brandon talks about his kids and I have one that came up as well, the same thing. My son he's in track and he's kicking butt. I mean, he just he's like the only freshman that made varsity. So he's doing really well. He had a track meet and they were supposed to do the 4x100 and they didn't because his friends didn't want to. They just said, we don't feel like doing it. So I said, Christian, you need to stand up and be a leader and rein these guys in. You're the fastest guy there. I can't change their mindset. I can't change what they are. He goes, they always don't want to do anything. They always just want to like make things up. And I told him, I said, that's what you're going to experience for the rest of your life. The majority of people don't want to get out of their comfort zone. Anything that requires work is uncomfortable. And you have to make that choice. Am I going to be this guy or am I going to be that guy? And you have to make that choice. So you can either be this person forever, like everyone else within that. And yes, it is comfortable. But it's like when you overeat and you just overindulge, after a while, you're like, man, I feel gross. Didn't do anything. And all I did is pig out. I want to go work out. I want to go, like, there's going to be a point where you're just going to look and so the more you don't do anything, the more that fog and depression stays there. And as you start listening to the right people, booking just simple little wins, just being in front of people will start changing your mindset and that becomes a lot easier to write down. When now that we have these money coming in, they're like, let's go. But when you don't, your mind will start talking to you. It's like I had a buddy that, I don't mean to keep going on this, but I just want to give examples so we can connect with it. But I had a buddy who got hurt and he was just collecting unemployment, sitting on a couch. And you talk about a guy that was in the worst depression of all time. And I feel this way, and I'm sure it's the same for women, but for a man, the way I was brought up, we're meant to provide. We're meant to go hunt and gather and provide and create and work. That's the DNA of a real man. Sitting there getting a handout, doing nothing, his mind was just talking to himself and he was going into this spiral of depression. And he finally and he started drinking, doing all this kind of stuff. Finally cut that out, went and got a job, a minimal job, but it changed his whole mindset and it helped his marriage, helped everything. Just booking a few wins. You're gonna have to take a step into some kind of work and baby steps. You don't need to do a bunch of stuff. Like even the tasks that sometimes we want to do everything and make this major shift. It's not doable. Just book one win, make one change, do one thing, and you will at the end of the month have achieved something.
Yeah, that's really good. Anything anybody wants to add to that? Okay, great. That was great. Do you guys feel any kind of shift in your mindset right now? Do you already feel like you're tapping in and kind of getting into the right wavelength? It starts happening. If you don't, there's also a reason for that as well. There's a level of distrust or cynicism or negative. Like if you don't feel like you're already altering your mindset just by being in here in the last 15-20 minutes, there's something that happens. You should be feeling that shift, right? You should feel in that space. And when you start getting clarity and we're writing our goals and we're writing our gratitudes and we're getting there, now the ideas start flowing. You need to write it down, right? This is where the answers start coming. This is what we're cracking open, right? And I'm going to read it. So this book is called The Science of Personal Achievement by Napoleon Hill. It's a great book that breaks it down chapter by chapter on the success principles. So Think and Grow Rich is similar, but it's kind of written in a little bit more code. This is very straight to the point, right? But talks about a lot of the things in a different way. So this chapter is on applied faith. Everything that we just talked about. And it's called applied faith. Why do you think it's called applied faith? Why isn't it just called faith? What would you think?
Because you practice it actively.
Practice it and you take action, right? Applied faith is applying what your belief is. You can't just believe it and not take action, right? You can't just think it and not do anything towards it. It's not about having it down perfect. It's just about doing. And the answers will come to you, right? It's not how. Your purpose and your why has to be strong enough, where if it's to provide, if it's to create a better life for yourself, your family, whoever, that's got to be strong. And that's, you got to connect with it, right? Just like what Aaron Mueller said on our last mastermind about when you wake up in the morning, who here's try to put their hands over their hearts
Me.
and feel it, right? And breathe and connect with God or what your belief is, and just take a moment to thank God for that day, and then get to that state of gratitude. I've literally done it every single night since she spoke about it, and I've spoken about it also to other groups of people, and it's been awesome. Like, it's the coolest thing she shared that was right in alignment with what we're talking about. So let's talk about applied faith, okay? So applied faith is the third principle and is called the dynamo of the science of personal achievement philosophy because it enables action. Faith is a state of mind, right? State of mind where you relax your own reason and willpower, opening yourself completely to the inflow of the power of infinite intelligence or cosmic habit force, which is discussed later. When you apply faith, you accept guidance from this infinite intelligence. Turning over problems to this guidance can be difficult till you realize that if you let it, the creative force of the entire universe can aid you in all your endeavors. This is how it all works, okay? Faith is a mental attitude wherein the mind is cleared of all fears and doubts and directed towards the attainment of something definite through the aid of infinite intelligence. Faith is a means by which we may tap and draw upon the power of infinite intelligence at will. Faith is guidance from within, but nothing more. It will not bring you what you desire, but it will show you the path by which you may go after whatever you desire. How locked in is this in comparison to what I just shared with my son, right? And it's, he created that. Yes, I probably helped influence that idea, right? Or that belief. But even if they don't believe, even if some of you don't believe fully yet that you're capable of accomplishing any goal, whatever that, don't limit yourself, whatever goal it is, even if you don't, sometimes when somebody else sees it and believes in you, there's a reason. So trust that and believe in that. You get what I'm saying? Like, even if you're not sure yet, believe that somebody else believes enough in you to bring you in here and want you all to be a part of this and to experience the type of life that is so beautiful. And for everybody, it's not making a million cajillion dollars, right? It's just making life a little bit better, making it make a little bit more sense, connecting with what's most important in case we are called our last day. We don't know when that last day is going to come. So are we prepared? Don't think you're going to do it down the road. Be prepared now, right? Be that light now. Be that person now. So go
Yeah,
ahead,
and
Ken.
Brandon and I, we're talking to somebody about this. One thing we will tell you, you're entitled to happiness. Don't allow, like a lot, what the point of why I say that is that sometimes cynicism sets in. And you always will try to figure out why it's not true. What's it matter? You know, faith, there's no one's gonna prove faith. But living in that way, people are happy. They're just happy. But you don't need to know that maybe they made some extra money off this church. Or maybe they did, like, stop it. Who cares? Who cares? Enjoy the happiness of what you're believing in.
Yeah.
Stop looking for the negative within the happiness. I'm just telling you, it's something that can have a very negative spiral effect now.
Absolutely. So there's something called success consciousness, right? Most people don't realize, but most people are poverty consciousness, and they're worried about, their fear is to be broke or to be poor, or things just never work out, or I never have enough money. That's where their mind stays. You have to become success conscious, okay? Excuse my French. It's Ken, can you handle this? It's Danny. Here, just take it. Thanks. So success consciousness, I knew I was gonna need to get that too. So she's, another agent just joined us, but a lot going on. Getting back to it, success consciousness is focused on this thoughts of opulence and plenty bring prosperity. Your mind attracts whatever your mind has been conditioned to attract. Okay. So you have to condition your mind to success and already believing and being grateful for the success and what that's going to do for you. So think of when I'm in the flow, how do I know things are going well for me? Am I watching how much the gas prices are? Am I concerned about how expensive everything is on the menus? Right? When things are flowing, we're not worried about those things. And it's not always money related, but you just know when you're in that flow, that's where we're trying to get to. And we have to figure out things that are going to help us get in that flow state. Okay. So there's 8 faith building fundamentals, right? And these are the things to help if you need to build more faith and more belief. Your first is definiteness of purpose, supported by personal initiative or action. So you have to have a very clear, what is your purpose? What's your why? Why are we doing this? Right? So whatever that is, as simple or as complex you want to make it, the more definite it is, the better. Meaning, put a date to it, put a timeline, put an amount. Everything's got to be specific. And it's not always money, but those are certain things that are important to, if you want to do greater good, do things for other people, gets a lot easier when you have money, right? If you're in a scarcity mindset, it's kind of hard to try to hand over some money to somebody who needs help when you're worried about paying your own bills. So we have to get there first, but it's not. I hear a lot of people say, well, once I have all the money or once I have all the business, then I can think like that. It's like, no, you're preventing yourself from getting there because you already don't think like that. You have to think that way first, and then it comes. And it's so true. Okay. So it's a shift, right? There's no greater demonstration of the power of faith than to decide what you're going to do, to become determined in your own mind. You're going to do it no matter how many things or how many people get in your way, how long it takes, or what you have to pay to do it. And to form a definite plan and proceed where you stand to carry out that plan, whether at the time it is favorable or not. That's fundamental number one. Okay. Number two, second, another factor, fundamental of applied faith is to maintain a positive mind free from all negatives such as fear, envy, hatred, jealousy, and greed. Remember that mental attitude determines the effectiveness of your faith. Your mental attitude determines the effectiveness, says it twice, of your faith. And remember also that your mental attitude is the only thing in the world that you have control over. That's astounding and important in connection with this subject. When you get to the point where you recognize this truth and begin to apply it, you will change the entire affairs of your life. You can obtain, so changing your attitude will change your life. You can attain your objectives with less effort than you ever did before, and you can disabuse yourself of all sources of worry and fear. Okay. Three, the next fundamental faith is to develop and maintain a mastermind alliance with one or more people who radiate courage based on faith and are suited mentally and spiritually to carry out a given purpose. The reason for building a mastermind made up of people who are suited mentally and spiritually to your needs is because the people you associate with have a certain mental attitude that is contagious and you're bound to pick it up in spite of all you can do. If you associate every day with people who have perfect faith and a positive mind, you will have no trouble accomplishing what you start out to do. Oftentimes, we're so close to our problems that it's a case of not being able to see the forest through the trees. Okay. So that's very important. And we always say, write down your top 5 people that you think are the most important people for this year that you want to stay close to, right? You want to communicate on a regular basis. You want them to hold you accountable and be real with you and to speak to you in a way, not in judgment, but in a way of love, of confronting you when you need to be confronted, right? And speak to you and just be honest with you. And if you have those people in your life, protect those relationships. Don't avoid them. Even though you may not want to hear what they have to say, it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing, as long as it's coming from the right place. Okay. So fourth, the fact that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent benefit. What does that mean? What does that mean, Sean? Sure.
Even,
Go ahead.
even though things are hard, if you get it done, you're gonna benefit from it, basically.
So it's a perspective, right? Where a lot of people think bad things are happening to them. You're looking at it it's happening for you, and it's a lesson of greater benefit of every adversity. You'll learn faster and grow faster through adversity than you will in everything working out for you, right? So if April, when you started out, every person you spoke to became a client, thank you, Ken, became a client and bought a home, and you sold 20 homes last year, do you think you would have dug as deep as you're digging right now for it to work? The adversity is what helps shape you to accomplishing greater than I knew a guy who did 5 deals right out the gate, right when we both started at the exact same time, all through his church, had a small church, and that's all he ever did. I did my 1 deal, right? Got one, then I did another 1 deal, and I kept learning, kept growing. He thought he had it all figured out after his 5. This particular agent, maybe one a year, every other year, right? Because he stopped his growing, he stopped his learning. It came too easy, too fast. That's not a good thing. We think it's good, it's not good. It's the adversity that teaches you to figure out and refine what you need to become what Ken's talking about. You got to understand how to master your craft. This is your craft, this is your career, and you'll feel that way. That was one of the things my dad said. He's like, one day you're just going to know you're a real estate agent. He's like, it's not that you know how to sell homes and do these things, but it's going to hit you like, this is my calling. This is my career. This is what I'm supposed to do. And it's hard to know that early on. You may think you could be good at it. You may think a lot of things, but until you know you can create something from nothing and walk into an open house or walk into a restaurant and start speaking with somebody, and you have the goods, you have what they need to get them to their goal in life, and you can create it, and it's a beautiful profession that can pay you in abundance when you do enough of the right things. When that day happens, you realize like, okay, yeah, this is my career. It's not a job, it's a career. It's not, well, I got to try to do something else to try to make ends meet. Then if I pop one here and there, it'll be nice. That'll be some extra spending fun money. Well, you're probably going to get weeded out. It's too competitive. It's too strong. And there's people too hungry who want it a lot more than you do, right? And that's why, like when Ken and I were talking and we hear it's like, oh yeah, we can commit 20 minutes, we can commit an hour, we can commit 30 minutes. People who are competitive, it's not that we're trying to compare ourselves, but you're like, it's different. There's an obsession that takes place. You don't even know the time. You don't know how much time you put in. I don't know how much I'm going through. I'm seeing stuff highlight I didn't even know I read a year ago. It has to become an obsession that you just put every time you have time, and Ken and I kind of do the same. Our brain starts going at night. We finally get time to ourselves later at night, and it just starts going. Ideas come, we read, we're researching. Ken's studying over and over and over. I study a different way. We're both studying though. You find out what works for you and you listen. And every time you're in the car, I don't listen to the radio. I don't know the latest music. I'm not impressed with to begin with, but I don't think I'm missing much. But if I'm hearing something, I want it to hit me spiritually. I want it to hear me, put me in the right mindset. I don't want to hear crap. I don't, unless there's a reason for it, but it becomes an obsession. So you shouldn't be counting your time, but create time to do the things that you're doing. Okay.
And you can correlate like you have to find that place like you, for example. You love golf, right?
I do.
You love it. You read on it, you watch videos on it, you like
Yeah, like
everything,
all the
right?
time.
All
Yeah,
the time.
waste so much time on it.
It's not a waste, because
Yeah.
you love it.
And you're feeding your
And
your
you're feeding
passion.
it, right?
Mhm.
You think that feeling is the way I felt when I got into real estate. I couldn't get enough. I would listen to people and just like, wanted to know everything about it, because I took it that way.
Why? Why did you
I
do that?
don't know why.
Like what triggered that for
Yeah,
you?
how do you get there?
Because I worked a real job. And I hate to say it like that, but when you've worked a real job, I'm talking 60 hours, slept 2 hours in the morning, slept 2 hours at night. And you would come home and just get in your bed, and it was like the most like heaven on earth was that bed, because you're so wiped out that this was a joke. And then when I started just to not to sound that way, But to me, that's what I felt like, because I mean, when you're physically working hard to make ends meet, to make nothing, I was making nothing in comparison to what, when I got in. I felt like I worked a job that it was robotic for so many years that now I felt that I was finally able to express myself in a way where everything I felt that I finally had an outlet to express that. So I wanted to figure out how ways and abilities to do that in the best way I could. And then I would hear people and I'd go, that guy I value. I value what he's saying because, and I would, something, for whatever reason, I needed proof. And you'll realize, all of you will realize, a lot of times companies or people, Instagram or companies will just put someone in place that'll be a trainer, but they've never done anything. And it's so evident within the first hour when they're just telling you something, you're going, you've never sold anything. It's obvious. It's obvious that you've never sold anything. You've never been in those trenches. You've never been, it's like a guy talking about war and telling you about war. And then the guy, like, if you ever watched the movie Good Will Hunting, there's a part where he says, when he's ripping on the kid, he goes, maybe you read War and Peace, he says, but have you ever hurt or held your best friend's body as he just got shot in your hands? Because you don't know this. He goes, you don't know what that's like. He goes, you don't know. So you can tell right away the people that have walked the walk, not just talk the talk. And that kind of stuff, for me, same thing in golf, probably. When someone's a poser or not, and you can tell based on what they're talking about. But you got to find that passion. The way you get excited, you got a little grin on your face when I say golf.
Just like,
Like
it's not gonna make me any money,
Yeah.
Well, it can.
Yeah.
He's on the golf course?
Yeah.
They're gonna see you every day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know how many people are trying to get me to learn how to golf,
You know how
man?
many
They're
people
like,
live on the golf course?
I'll teach you golf, you teach me more real estate, well,
let's do it.
do it.
My son was
What are
like,
we waiting
my
for?
son worked at Golf Galaxy, which is a place like, it's owned by Dick's, but it's a he became a golf fitter. And he was the same as him, because I love golf, I just and that. He just got a job with a company called TrackMan, which is this technological computer that can check out your swing, and people pay $100,000 for this machine. And he gets commission on that. So he's traveling, he's in Orlando right now, but he landed this job because he loved that job.
Yeah.
He became obsessed with it and learned it. He interviewed, they only hired one guy. He got that job. But how did he do it?
'Cause he
I
loved it so
loved
much.
loving it. So I'm not trying to talk about golf, but I'm talking about, you gotta find that passion in this business and learn it. And find whatever angle, there's so many different angles in real estate. It's not just this one thing. Like Chris Garvin is a guy that we all have known for years that helps us with our flips and everything. He hates being around people. He hates getting dressed up. He hates door knocking. He hates cold calling, but he loves flips and he loves buying investment properties, and that's his angle. Figure out your niche and be good at it.
Yep. Good talk.
Learn it.
Good chat. Yep. All right. So let's get to, so we said fourth. Fourth was the every adversity carries with it the seed of equivalent benefit. Okay. And that temporary defeat is not failure until and unless it has been accepted. So don't call it defeat, call it temporary defeat. Everything in life is temporary. Everything is temporary. Whatever pain you're going through, it's temporary. That helps you push through it, right? Whatever success you're feeling is temporary, right? You can't just get comfortable there. So understanding that everything in life is temporary helps you know how to have the right attitude in the response, because you're going to see there's a formula to this whole thing as I'm going through the different habits. The fifth habit of affirming your definite major purpose in the form of prayer at least once daily. So you should be affirming it, whether you pray, whether you just do affirmations, These are things that you need to start programming in your subconscious mind. It gets into a lot more detail of what happens when you believe in your definiteness of purpose so much that you're speaking about it every single day. Okay. Getting to the sixth habit, a faith building foundation of recognizing the existence of infinite intelligence. So it says again, six is a faith building foundation of recognizing the existence of infinite intelligence. I call that God, right? Others call it the universe or whatever else. The individual is a minute expression of this intelligence. And as such, the individual mind has no limitation except those accepted or set up in his or her own mind. Now, I could make that statement any stronger. That's as strong as the English language will permit me to make it. I can tell you now that if you follow this philosophy, as I hope you will follow it, you'll prove to yourself that what I'm saying is true. That you have no limitations except those that have been set up in your mind or permit the circumstances of life or the influence of other people to set up for you. This is a very powerful paragraph. If you examine yourself carefully, you'll find out that the limitations that you have held you back in the past, have been largely the influences of other people. Very largely, maybe entirely the influences of other people. Or they have been due to the fact that you've been thinking in negative terms of fear. If you can rid yourself of those negative influences, if you can rid yourself of all those outside influences designed to break down your faith, the time will come when you can do anything you make up your mind to do. Okay? That's a very powerful paragraph there. Seventh, self-respect expressed through harmony with your own conscience. What does that mean? Self-respect expressed through harmony with your own conscience. Unless you're on good terms with your own conscience, you will never make the fullest use of applied faith. If you feel guilty about something, you're living below what you know you should be doing. You're not in harmony with yourself. It's not it people can tell if you're all out of whack. They can tell, they can sense it. The creator very wisely set up for you a judge, advocate to whom you can go at all times to know what is right and what is wrong. There is no sane human being in this world who doesn't know at all times what is right and what is wrong, unless someone has choked off his or her own conscience and killed it by neglecting to be guided by it. That will kill it all. You have to be on good terms with your own conscience and let it be the dictator. There are times when you will have to make decisions as a result of your own conscience that will be unprofitable to you. Go ahead and make them without any hesitation. If your conscience doesn't back you up, you don't do it. If your conscience backs you up, go ahead and do it. Don't ask anybody because you don't need to ask anybody. That's why the conscience was given to you to guide you, to ensure you make no mistakes. I'm thinking of Jiminy Cricket right now with Pinocchio, right? Those who kill off their relationships with their conscience sooner or later come into difficulty. To create a mental attitude favorable for the expression of faith, there are steps you need to take. And incidentally, your mental attitude is the lever, the pump handle, the valve through which you control your power of faith. It's the only thing you actually do control. To create a mental attitude favorable for the expression of faith, first, you need to know what you want, determine what you have to give in return for it. Know what you want. That's step number one in creating a positive mental attitude, which is all there is in connection with applied faith. Next, when you affirm the object of your desires through prayer, let your imagination see yourself already in possession of it. Third, keep your mind open for guidance from within. And when you're inspired by hunches to move on some plan created by your imagination, which leads in the direction of what you desire, accept the plan and act on it at once. Don't neglect the hunches you get. They're rich with opportunity, richer than you think. Sometimes you may have a hunch that seems quite foolish because it leads you in a direction you never thought you wanted to go, yet that's exactly what you needed. Remember always, there can be no such state of mind as faith without appropriate action. Faith without deeds is dead. Action. There must be eternal action behind the things that you go after if you're going to make use of applied faith. And next, when overtaken by defeat, as you may be many times, remember that our faith is tested many times, and defeat may be only one of your testing times. Don't accept it as anything else. It's a test. Therefore, accept defeat as an inspiration for greater effort and carry on with belief that you will succeed. If you believe, you deserve to succeed. And last, any negative state of mind will destroy the power of faith and result in a negative climate. Your state of mind is everything. You alone control your state of mind. There may be times when circumstances will make it difficult for you to control your state of mind, such as the death in connection with the loved one. During those times, it'll be very difficult for you to control your emotions, to not feel the pangs of sorrow. But if you practice controlling your state of mind, you'll get to the point when you can control your mental attitude at all times. There are two types of circumstances people worry about that destroy the power of faith. One is when you can do something about the situation if you wish to, and the other is when you have no control of the situation. Obviously, the latter should be dismissed from your mind entirely because you can do nothing about it. You can relate yourself to those circumstances in such a way that they do not take you down. But the former kind, the kind that you can do something about instead of worrying about them and becoming afraid and destroying your capacity for faith, that's when you jump in and do something. Take control. If you believe you deserve to succeed. That's the last one. Eighth. Eighth is faith building fundamental of a burning desire. It's what Ken was talking about in depth. The sort out of which faith is created. When you lay out a definite major purpose, create a burning desire for the attainment of that purpose. Do not back away from it. Bring it into your consciousness many times a day. Become obsessed with it. And you determine to carry out that purpose that constitutes the finest application of faith you can imagine. There's more to it, but I hope there was some good that came out of that there. Definitely answered some questions for me personally. Anything you guys want to share? Or any thoughts on that? Anything stick out to you?
People sometimes have their own hesitation because they don't believe they are worthy of it. They truly don't, and they are their own block, right?
Right.
They just don't feel that they should be that successful. They don't deserve it. And it's something that I think we've created, in this world, like so much social media and things that gets in your head in a negative.
Right.
So I'm guilty of it at times,
Right.
not believing in myself, even though I try to do the mindset, I read the books, I do the positive, I'm doing all the things, but we're human, right? And something will creep up and it's hard to kick it out.
Right.
So you just have to keep plugging away, and you're right, you do learn the most when you hit a bump, a down. It sucks, it hurts, and you struggle through it, but that's where we grow the most.
Yep.
So, and again, who you're surrounded with is the most important thing. I always tell my kids, you become who you hang around.
Yeah.
So your influence, your people that, if you want to grow, hang around the people that are growing with you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's extremely important.
That's awesome.
I
Thank
would-
you for sharing that.
I mentioned this before, but I would highly recommend you guys read this Who Not How. And it deals exactly with that. And what it is that this guy has studied and realized that many of these things, these self limitations, are from your childhood and your upbringing, your paradigm that you were put into. And sometimes people are set off on these goals and there really isn't what they want to do based on things that have happened to them in their life. So self-awareness of your paradigm and your childhood and all that, like it is like money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah, we can't afford that. That's not gonna happen. What are you kidding me? Like all those little knocks may have affected your self-belief and what you can do. And you don't know it. And they talk about all that stuff. It's really a good book.
Jen, you want to sneak over here? Are you good? You good where you're at? That's Jen. Everybody, there's Jen in the back hiding. She likes to be called on. No, no. Of course. Anything, how do you feel, Jen? And we're gonna try to get you on. You gotta scoot over. Jen. I know. All right. Let's go. She's gonna dip out. Yep. So, no, just what are your thoughts from what you're hearing right now?
Just relating a lot, I was processing everything that you were just saying, both of you, and just kind of relating to so many people in my lives, including in my life, as well as situations in my life and where I'm at now, and believing in myself more than I ever did, and it's so nice. But also instilling that in my kids too, just teaching them that they can do anything, and it's crazy because I have like really different kids. They're so different. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're all very different, but it's like just, it makes me excited to see them succeeding, doing what it is they want to do because they have that belief, because that was so important to me to really instill that in them, that they could do anything.
Absolutely.
It's really cool.
Well, you're a great example on a lot of levels. And so this is kind of a tough question, but want to see what are your thoughts of any adversity, how you deal with adversity? Like, can you think of a time that you faced adversity and how something positive came from that adversity? Do you feel comfortable sharing something? And I don't want to tap into something too deep, but just it's up to you because I want people to understand there's a reason why, like, of all people, you're somebody who I see once your mind's on something, you go at it. Like, you don't hesitate, you don't think, you just start taking action and you figure it out and you start doing it and you attract other people around you that also want to help you towards your goals and want to support your vision and your dream and what you're doing. That only happens if you've been through some things and you've dealt with certain adversity and you didn't let the adversity take you down. Are you comfortable with sharing any one example with that?
I mean, definitely have a few that are crossing my mind, but.
What's one that you can think something positive came out from that adversity? Like a positive.
Disability.
Okay.
Disability. I was disabled from my first career. And so it enabled me to stop doing something that I really didn't like and start this career. So that for me is really huge because that was something that was devastating at that moment, feeling like, wow, I can't continue doing what I went to college for and what I was trained in and everything. And that set me back, and people saying, when I finally had this big surgery and was able to go back to work, people saying, you're gonna go into real estate, kind of looking at me like, really? I know so many realtors, that don't make it. And in my mind, I was like, oh, I will make it. I guarantee I'll make it. It was like, it wasn't an option. So, and there's other things that made it not an option not to make it, but that's one of them too, that just in my mind was big for me, and it just pushed me.
So did you pick up how she said there was no other option? That absoluteness, that's the key. When you talk about having a definiteness of purpose, there is no other option. It's only one way, and it has to happen because just an absolute. I've shared the story in terms of I was going to lose the house that we had purchased previously if I didn't open 5 escrows in 30 days. And then once I saw that I was able to do it, I'm like, why don't I do this all the time? Why do I need my back up against the wall? Why does something like that have to be almost life-changing in order for me to finally get the absolute that she's talking about right now? So think about that for yourself, just in terms of like one of the exercises we did is identify the adversity that you can think of, a pretty painful situation, and then what positive came out of that, right? And so then you can think of the adversity of what you're going through right now. We don't understand why it's happening, but something great is going to come from it. And you got to know that. You got to know something positive's coming soon, very soon. We're seeing a lot of things in the news, or, not that I'm watching the news, but I get my reels, right? I get my updates on things that are happening on the economic level. Interest rates, you guys hear about that with the credit cards? 10% being capped at 10% after January 21st. It's going to be insane.
It's gonna really happen.
The Real said it, so I believe that that's about as accurate as it can be. There's supposed to be there's supposed to be, right, but it's supposed to take effect like January 21st. I mean, it's coming up pretty, yeah, in days. Very, very soon. That one's supposed to be taking effect. The other one is the mortgage-backed securities that are being purchased to help lower the interest rates. That's the other major thing that's supposed to be happening. There's a third one. I only heard the first two of the three, but some pretty big moves. Regardless, the great minds, or the minds that are out there that are trying to make sure they're stimulating things, just be ready to work. You know what I mean? In terms on the business. If our mind's not in the right spot, it doesn't matter if all the business is poured in front of us. and pour it onto us, we're not going to know how to handle it. We're not going to know how to be the leaders we need to be. That's why this alignment is so important. So we got just a little bit of time. Ken, you sound like you want to say something.
26 years of real estate. What do you think were like the worst times? What do you think, like, do you guys know the history of the last 26 years? Like, what was the biggest economic moment? Like, what do you guys think? What are things that caused? Like, let's talk about maybe COVID, maybe the crash of 2008. Look, those are all pretty bad. Probably historically, probably the worst of all time. You know how much money there's certain people made during those times?
That was the most amazing.
Best time for you, right?
For a lot of people.
Well,
It's
why?
Loaded.
Why?
Because they've been working hard, and when it was time, everybody's remodeling, everybody's doing everything, they're sitting home, they hate their house, they've been sitting in it. I mean, yeah, they just worked all year, and when it hit, they were the people.
The point I'm trying to make is, and what she's saying is correct. You can believe whatever narrative you want. In every market, there's money to be made. Real estate never stops. Never stops. You need to adapt. You need to change. During the 2008, I was doing massive short sales. We were doing it, and then after that, on the rebound, we were doing investment flips. Buying the property, selling them within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We would buy them and sell them, buy them and sell them. We did like 50 of those. COVID, there was like 5 of us working. I was busier than all hell. And everyone else was scared at home.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the same people and we're like, is it just us or this is stupid? Like, it's so easy. Do you think people don't need to, like, do you think they stop getting divorced? Do you think people stop dying?
They were
Do you
staying
think
home.
people stop having job transfers? Do you think people stop wanting to move up? Do you think families stop growing? Do you think people stop losing their jobs? Like, real estate is an ongoing thing that never stops. You gotta find out what is it that's happening? What are the trends that you're seeing? And fill that void. You gotta fill that void. It's like we get paid at a level of income that people who go to 10 years of schooling don't get paid. But yet we do zero effort in sharpening our skills, working on our craft, figuring out what's going on, putting any work in. We don't do enough for the amount of income we get. That's why these lawsuits were filed. People were seeing that. We have to demonstrate and learn and be better it's almost like, how do we deserve to get that if we don't do anything?
So let me just ask some questions real quick. So we got about 15 minutes here before we're gonna wrap it up. Okay. I want to finish it out on a real estate focused subject. Just what challenges are you guys seeing, or what skills that Ken's talking about do you need to sharpen to make sure that you're seeing better results or better traction? Are we trying to find more buyers and sellers? Like, is it prospecting? Is it knowing how to have conversations on the phone when we're reaching out to our sphere? Like, what areas we get one quick little 15-minute session to talk about what would be most important to all of you. I know you mentioned objection handling earlier. Anything else that you guys can think of? Follow-up? Follow-up's great. Any other things? I'm just gonna write these down now. So follow-up, objection handling, what else? These are the skills. Discipline. No, it's good. So follow-up, objection handling, okay. Discipline. What else?
Time blocking.
Time blocking, okay.
I think mindset and just not being afraid of talking to people and afraid of, failure, basically.
Okay. Afraid of failure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So knowing what to say, right? Knowing what to say. You know what? You're right, April, and we've been talking a lot lately, right? With a lot of different things that are going on, but you're not afraid to try, right? So keep doing that. Just check with me on certain things, right? Before you try that.
We almost
Check.
had it was Mary this weekend. Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's all good. But
You
it's so
can't leave me hanging like.
try not to get into the details of it. But the one thing I can share is The one thing I can share is just, if it's ever, the things where issues come up are contingency removals, right? So just know the contract's an active contract. So once you remove all the contingencies or any contingencies and you send it, email to the other side, this is where people get confused, is when they're trying to do the response to the request for repairs, right? And they think, well, we're agreeing to this, they haven't accepted it yet, and we're sending the contingency removal along with that. You could be burying yourself, right? So just know, if you have questions with any of that, call one of us and make sure you double check before you send things. That's one thing, you can't unring that bell.
Right.
Once it happens, so it takes some massaging and working through, but don't do it, right? Just always check. You can have it signed and hold on to it. Once you email it, it's done, right? So contract formation is when there can be issues.
You have the correct verbiage to make it contingent upon them fully agreeing, there's.
Right, there is a box to check, right? There's a box to check to tie the two together. If that box gets missed, now you're just removing contingencies.
That box got
That's a
me.
big
Well,
one. That's a big.
so it all worked out, but it's still something, again, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. You just need to double check, right? And I'm not trying to call you out or put you on the spot. I'm bringing it up because it's something that, right. I'm,
I will never
Right.
miss it.
That's right, that's right.
but these are the things that you want to double check on, yes.
Yeah, I did a transaction one time and the guy, we were finished, my client got it, the agent told me, we'll open escrow tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. My client's all stoked. The next morning he calls me and says, I got a cash offer, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Never.
But there was one little box, if I had checked, that
Right.
wouldn't happen.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, Debbie Wartenberg, I don't know if any of you know, she's been in real estate since 1985.
She's a lender, right?
No, there's two of them.
Oh, okay.
I know, it's weird. And she said, Lisa, I've never checked that box in my life. I've never seen that box. I've never checked it. She's never done it. If
Right.
you've never done it, you miss it. And the only way you learn in real estate is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's true.
No, it's.
Well, that's what we
really
were just saying. You're gonna learn more from adversity, from mistakes, from things not going well. We just can't put certain things in jeopardy, you know what I mean, by doing these things. We don't know. So that's why it's like, yes, keep taking action, keep trying, keep learning, but also know when you need to, it's not like, oh, well, I don't wanna annoy this person or bug this person. I know they're busy. No, this is when I want you to reach out to us, right? These are the times, and that's for every agent in here. It doesn't matter who we are. We check with each other all the time. It just happens.
Yeah, common
You gotta
thing
double
that's
check.
done that people forget. It's not just pertaining to this one example, but just understand something. Let's say you have a listing. Buyer has removed all contingencies. You need them to close. They're like giving you a hard time. And then you realize you were the listing agent that you didn't do your avid. Then you do your avid and you send them the avid to the buyer. What do you think happens, Justin?
It extends that time frame.
It extends the contingency time frame.
I learned that on this one too. I
Even
was
if-
leaning hard on that one.
Even if it's as simple as avid. So I'm not just saying that particular document, but any document that goes over that's a disclosure will extend that period, and that can really screw you.
Mhm.
So just be careful with, get those knocked out immediately, all your stuff. And I was the worst at that. I never did my avid, and my TC would do your avid, do your avid, do your avid, do your avid. And I mean, I'm telling you, from experience, being lazy.
Even if all contingencies have been removed, it creates an opening for them where they can back out of the
Yep,
transaction. And then you have pie in your face now. Nice way to say it. You know what I mean? After the fact, and your client's looking at you like, well, I thought you said they were locked in. We already paid for this. We already did these things. So you have to know the game. It's a game. It's like playing Monopoly,
It's a
right?
game.
You got to know the rules. And if you don't know all the rules, you need to figure out the rules. Quick.
And understand this, that the contract is the spirit of the contract, not just what's written in that contract. But you will say, no, it says this, that's the law. That is not the case. It is not the case. And I can tell you example after example of example where the judge has looked at it and said, that's not right. That's not what the intent was. You're wrong, you'll lose. Like, I'll give you one, I know we're running out of time.
I got 5 minutes, but all right, 5 minutes. I'm trying to stay on time for
Go ahead.
everybody. No, go ahead.
No, but we had a situation one time, person sold his home. Somebody 7 years prior shot at his family and killed himself in the house. 7 years prior, listing agent listed it and didn't disclose it. Person buys a house, moves in, kids playing on the streets, and they say, oh, you live in that house where the whole family off themselves and whatever, the kid came home crying. Parents sued the company. And the broker said, we didn't have to disclose it. It's 3 years. 3 years is the disclosure period,
But
right?
it's knowledge.
So why wouldn't you?
So they went to court and the judge said, that was so horrific, you needed to disclose it.
Yeah.
And yet it says 3 years. There's a lot of things like that that you need to be careful with. You have your liquidated damages.
Yeah.
And it says, oh, it's people say it's 3%, 3%. Well, look, I had a person that bought a house, was ready to move in. You know, they removed their stuff. The seller called me and said, I had a bad agent, I'm not selling this home. And it was like, they were already driving. He goes, I'm sorry. And I said, and he goes, you can take my deposit because the market was going up. I said, buddy, it's not just your deposit. You're gonna pay for moving expenses, storage, job law, everything. We had an attorney come up, it was that like $100,000, maybe I think it was $60,000-$70,000. And the guy's like, okay, move forward, you know, like, but people don't know that. You're responsible, those for everybody's damages that you inconvenience them. But be very careful with what we do in this business.
All right, well, we'll cover these things on another note. I mean, we have a couple minutes, but basically, when it comes to knowing what to say and being afraid of saying the wrong things, sometimes we just got to do it, right? And we're going to learn by going. But if you want to learn what to say so that you do know what to say, how to say it, it's all the skills trainings that we're talking about in terms of like role playing, practicing, like knowing the actual pattern. And the easiest way is learning. Like if I hit you with something like objection handling and I ask you a question, I'm like, Sean, you know, what commission are you going to charge me? Right? What commission are you going to charge me if you list my home? And we're just on the phone, initial conversation. You know, you're trying to just set up the listing appointment. I ask you that question. How do you respond to that?
That's a great question. I don't really discuss commission over the phone, but after we go over everything that we can do for you, we can have that conversation.
Okay, so that's one way to answer it, right? Not bad. It's not bad. Okay, no, it is. But if I said that to you and you're trying to hire me to, you know, to list your home or whatever, how would you feel about that response? What do you think?
Probably pretend like closed off.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
So what you always want to do is you want to first, the easiest way is repeat the question to them. Okay, repeat and affirm. So say they said, you know, what would you charge commission? So say, so you're asking me what I would charge commission. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You're like, yes. So that buys you a little bit of time as I'm repeating and affirming. That's great. This is a very important process. And I'm so excited to meet with you, right? And I'm going to share with you how you're going to net the most money for the sale of your home when we get together. Does that work for you? Commissions are negotiable. I promise they won't get in between us working together, but I need to see your home first and speak to you and get a better understanding of what you're trying to do. And then we'll address commissions when we're at your property. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
You see how that felt and sound?
Yeah.
The first time we stopped, I forgot the question you even asked.
Right.
It was kind of cool.
Well, so what you do is when they ask you the question, you're asking them another question back, but you're repeating the question that they've asked. That's buying you time. And it's letting you kind of think of how you're going to say this in a way that you're acknowledging what they're saying. You're not just deflecting it, but you're also explaining why it doesn't make sense for me to talk to you about commission right now. I've never seen your home. I don't know what price you want to list your house at. I don't know all these other things. I'm not asking you to hire me on the phone right now. I'm asking that let's take it to the first step, which is I need to get inside your property before we can have this discussion. And commissions are negotiable. Does that work for you? Is that fair enough? Yes, that's fair. Boom. And you go through it. So you practice those types of objection handling, right? And then you know what to say. Then you're not worried when somebody hits you with something you're not ready for. because you've practiced that. So practice it over and over. Get somebody in here as a role play partner, and at least once a week. You should be doing it like 3 times, but at least once a week. You should connect with them and just real quick call them up and say, hey, April, hey, let's just practice the commission objection right now. Okay, let's do it. And then we start it off and then say, all right, April, what do you charge commission to sell my home?
Oh, great. Yeah, so that's a great question. So you want to know how much I charge for commission? Well, there's a lot involved and I really need to go and take a look at the home. I want to find out like your time frame, how much you need to net,
Uh-huh.
and, just kind of, it's not as easy as just, a flat, I don't want to just give you a flat rate. It's something that, we need to discover together, and everything's negotiable. So let's sit down and, we'll kind of walk everything step by step together, and then we'll discuss.
Okay, sounds good. Good job. It's just practicing it. Record it, listen to it, and then I mean, what do you think, Sean?
Better than me.
No? All right, so let's try it again one more
Because I
time.
heard
Sean,
that.
let's try it. Well, let's.
Better, it was
You're-
different.
Now you've heard a little bit. So, all right, Sean, what do you charge commission?
Sorry. I blanked.
Okay, so we're on the phone.
Okay,
Sean, before we have you come over to our house, what do you charge commission to sell the home?
so I understand that you're asking me what I charge for commission. That's a great question. Before we get into that, I really need to figure out the variables, what you want to net for your home, what you want to put it on the market for. There's just a lot that goes into it, and I'd love to have this conversation with you in person when we meet on Thursday.
That's not bad.
So bad.
It's not bad. So this is another kind of quick little tip, right? Address what they're saying first. The easiest thing to say is acknowledging they're talking about expense. You're shifting it to what they're going to gain and what they're going to benefit by working with you. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say is, I understand that that's an important question to you. I'm acknowledging it. I'm not deflecting it. I'm acknowledging what you just asked me right now. Right. So I understand that what you pay commission is very important to you. Right. And then I could even say, let me ask you this. Are you walking away with a certain amount of money? Is that very important to you? Are you trying to make as much money as you can from the sale of the home? And they can say, yes. There's different ways I can do it. But the quickest way is, don't try to explain so much first and then say commissions are negotiable. Just tell them right now. Well, the great news is commissions are negotiable, and I promise that commissions isn't going to prevent us from working together. So I hit it right on the head right out the gate. Then I'll say, I really need to see inside your home and see what, you plan to do in terms of how we're going to sell your property. And then we can come up with something that's fair for both of us. Does that work? Great. They just want to know you're willing to negotiate with them. It's typically it. Ken, any advice you have on it?
No, I mean, another typical one is I need to think about it. That's probably the most common objection you'll get, is like, I need to think about it. Like, and then they'll say, I just don't, that payment is a little high and I just need to think about it. And then you leave. And then the reality is, at that moment, you need to say, no, I understand. I understand your concern. But let me ask you this. Does the idea of what we're talking about make sense? And they're gonna go, well, yeah. So if we could get the payment to where you need to be, to where you feel comfortable, and I can show you how that could work, would you be 100% and moving forward with this? Well, yeah. If you address the concern and tell them, so I took it from see you later to now I'm gonna address it. And then of course I'm gonna show them, they don't know ways that they can get to the payment down lower. But then I'm gonna have to show them. But at least it didn't just kill the deal. So anytime, whenever they say, I need to think about it, say, no, I understand, I get it, that's a valid concern. But does the idea of this make sense to you? Does the idea of home ownership make sense to you? Well, of course, yeah. So if we can address your concerns, would you be okay with moving forward? Yeah, like, why wouldn't they? So those are ways of addressing.
And he's doing more discovery as he's handling the question. He's not just taking, they need time to think about it. Do you mind sharing with me, what is it that's your concern? What are your hesitations, right? Like, what do you like about it? What don't you? But what's concerning you? So when you don't just take their answer and then let them walk away and then try to put the deal together, but you just went out there and showed the property, or you just made some effort. You're doing all these things. You've earned the right to ask that question and just say, what is it that is your concern right now? Or is it payment, right? Is it these things? And you try to discover more, you can figure it out. But these are all skills. So just focus on 2 objections right now. The one objection is I need time to think about it. And then what is the commission that you would charge if you were to list my home? Guarantee those 2 things are going to come up this year. So is to pick a role play partner, 1 or 2, and then try to do it before we get together next week. And then try it at least for 15 minutes. Just practice it back and forth. And don't be too hard on each other when you're giving feedback. And when you're the other person, don't be the buster, right? Like, work with them to try to get a good outcome. Don't be too difficult. Not up front, not till you're doing this all the time. Get to outcomes where you win, right? And then when you're giving feedback, say, Sean, you did these things good. You had a good tone. You sounded clear. You were making sense, right? So you say 3 good things and then say, okay, now I can tell you were trying to like figure out what you were saying, or you weren't too sure what to say. So write it out. Write out what your answer would be. Chat GPT it, whatever, dude.
I was gonna say,
figure
you
it
can
out.
use if you go to the voice on ChatGPT, you can ask it to role play with you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I
And,
forgot about
you go.
that.
and there you go. I mean, it will do it. And then you can tell it the difficulty level you want it at.
He's getting rid of people, you see
Right.
that? You see that?
He's replaced that.
And
Everybody look at Sean.
I have a number, I have a number
I love that.
that
I'm
call,
missing
Yeah.
that.
and they'll ask you
Like,
questions.
so
You have that
Talk
phone
to
number?
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that number.
And then they'll call you back and rate your call
Wow,
and
that
tell
works
you.
really well.
that's cool.
Through ChatGPT.
I've done that.
No, yeah, Ken did it
That phone
one
number's
day
really good.
with us.
I got all right.
He got all right.
You got it, okay.
I can send you guys the
That,
number,
yeah.
yeah.
But that's like the same role.
All right, well, thank you guys
They
coming in
asked
here
her.
today. Yep. We'll wrap it up. Thank you.
Oh, cause.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah, always good. Thank you.
It's literally. the
Welcome,
main-
Lisa. I need to get on some